Tillage. Tillage, in agriculture, refer to the preparation of soil for planting and the cultivation of soil after planting. The soil is prepared, manipulated, into a desired condition by using hand tools or mechanical tools. Okay, if someone asks you that.
What do you think is the most important requirement for agriculture? Soil, that's right. But do you know that soil needs to be prepared for crop production? Yes, soil is usually found solidified into hard chunks of soil mass. This soil needs to be softened and loosened. Why does soil need to be loosened up before cultivation? The answer is simple. Loose soil will allow more air to pass to the roots of the plants. This will in turn aid the growth of the plant, leading to good crop production. It also helps the soil to retain water. Loosening up of soil has yet another benefit. Plants mostly take nutrients from the top layers of soil and they are unable to go deeper into the soil. Loosening up the soil helps to turn the lower soil and makes it accessible to the plant. Thus, the nutrients in the lower layers are brought up to the upper layers of the soil. So, what is this process of loosening and turning of soil called? We call it tilling or plowing in agriculture. How is tilling and plowing done by man? Have you heard the name of an equipment called plow? Yes, I'm sure you have. It helps to loosen the soil. But what if the soil is hard? Would it be easy to plow? No, it won't be. Hence, the soil may have to be watered before plowing. Even after plowing, huge chunks of soil could be left behind. These chunks need to be broken down into smaller fragments. Soil also needs to be leveled so that the land is even and sowing of seeds can take place on this land. What if the soil has not regained its fertility? Do we add some manure to it? Yes, of course. Manure too can be added to make the soil fertile. Now let us look closely at the equipments that aid the process of tilling or plowing.
Given on this channel for primary and secondary equipments.
Is more tillage sustainable? Let us see its explanation.
Sustainable tillage practices that promote soil health are critically important to the long-term viability of farming. This poses a challenge for many commercial vegetable farms in the Northeast, where a lot of tillage is used to prepare seed beds, control weeds, and incorporate residues. This video explores a variety of tools and techniques that growers and researchers are using to reduce the intensity of tillage while maintaining crop production. Farmers can decide for themselves what practices best fit their operation.
In the past 50 years or so, we've focused a lot of our attention on the chemical functions of the soils, and we've established a good infrastructure for soil testing and providing advice to farmers about the chemical functions of the soils. But the physical and the biological functions have not been developed very well. And as a result, we've seen many of our soils have become physically and biologically degraded. Farmers have a real challenge with managing the physical and the biological health of the soils, because traditionally tillage is a very integral part of the cropping system. Yet we now know that tillage also has a strong negative impact on the health of the soil, and certainly if tillage is repeated year after year for many decades, we see tremendous degradation of the soils. So we need to focus on finding alternatives to traditional tillage systems to build up those soils again and make them productive for our crops. Tillage affects soil health in a complex way. On the short term, tillage provides benefits by loosening the soil and allowing for water infiltration and oxygen to enter into it. In the long term, however, repeated tillage oxidizes organic matter that's critical for soil aggregation and structure. And so what we see after decades of repeated intensive tillage, that the soil degrades and becomes dense and compacted. The moldboard plow has been used for centuries to invert the soil. It's a very effective tillage tool, but it also breaks up soil aggregates, oxidizes the organic matter, which is critical to good soil aggregation. It also causes plow pens that reduces root proliferation into the subsoil. The rotavator is a tool that does an excellent job of creating a seedbed, and it has been used in vegetable systems for that reason. The concern about the rotavator is that, like the mulch-bore plow, it's a very intensive tillage tool, and in the long run it causes the destruction of soil aggregates. The disc harrow, in a way, performs less intensive tillage, which is good, but it has one particular problem, that it causes a lot of pressure at the bottom of the discs, especially when it's offset at a wide angle. And this causes some compaction that results in what we call a disc pan. To build healthy soils, we need to use good management practices, and I look at it as a balance sheet. Tillage and intensive monocrop production are practices that reduce the health of the soil. They degrade the soil. Other practices like cover cropping, good rotations, especially those including sods and legumes, and the addition of organic matter like manure and compost help build the soil. In general, what a farmer wants to achieve is a good balance between those practices. One of the interesting things that we found is that these soil building practices can also mutually reinforce each other. For example, combining reduced tillage or no tillage with cover cropping enhances the benefits of both.